Hello, my name is Hanson, and today I would like to talk about a topic which is called Craving is Suffering. Before we start, this video is going to be just about my perspective and my opinion towards craving that is suffering. So, no offense, just sharing how I think and how I feel based on this topic. I will try to just talk with my own experience, so not talk about other people. Let's explain what's the meaning of craving. So this is based on Google. Craving means a powerful desire for something. So which means, for example, it can be luxuries, it can be food or drinks, it can be love and all that. So to me, I crave a lot in my life. Craving to me feels like a chasing for something, something that I set a notion that I feel like if I get that things that I will feel happy, or like if I achieve this or that goal, then I will feel happy. Today I come to a point where craving does not lead to happiness to me. It does not lead to true happiness, or at least uh, a happiness of for eternity. And when it comes to happiness, perhaps sometimes I overvalue what's the purpose of happiness and what's the meaning of happiness. Is that I'm putting too much of a value. I'm looking at happiness as like a condition. So that's why the notion of if I do this or that, if I get to this point or that point, then only I will be happy. So then happiness becomes this condition for me. It becomes this goal for me to feel happy. And there's a lot of different words for it. Like there's a difference between joy, there's a difference between contentment, there's a difference between happiness. Now if we look to the definition of what's the difference between contentment and happiness, which I am using Google, it's more accurate, I guess. Happiness is a bit different from a feeling. Rather, it is an experience, usually hallmarked by positive thinking, joy, pride, and even laughter. Contentment, on the other hand, is a long-lasting feeling accompanied with by peacefulness, gratitude, and satisfaction. What's more important is to talk about my craving, which is, like I mentioned earlier, the never-ending desire and the chasing for something. It's always uh, right now I'm at point A, and then right now I want to chase for point B. And then when I get to point B, I change to point C. That's just what I think that will make me happy, but at the end just doesn't. So for example, if I crave for something and I'm just like fantasizing, I imagine, wow, how good if I it would be if I get this or that, and at the end I got it, and it doesn't feel fulfilling. It's not. Maybe the truth is that it's not about that particular thing. It's just the expectation of me thinking that by achieving this or that, or by uh, getting this or that, that will make me happy. But maybe in reality is that sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the mind of mine, it just constantly have this idea, have this mindset of if I get this, then for sure they will be happy or fulfilled. But that's just not the case. If I have to recall in the past, right? Whenever I feel happy, it doesn't it doesn't always come as expected. A lot. I feel like you guys also experience this type of happiness where it's just appears so sudden. For example, like if I go to a birthday party, I can imagine, wow, it's gonna be so cool. We're gonna be playing a lot of game. We're gonna be laughing and all that, and then there will be many possible results. but then none of one that I can predict, or at least if it's true, it's just only because I guess it right. But the truth is, I will never predict how things will be. It's just that how my past experience uh, that I dictate how the future events is going to happen. That's one thing that also makes me worry a lot. Thinking and worrying and assuming about the worst catastrophic event. So having a lot of negative, you know, it's always just it's always just focusing on the negative side. It's not the focus. It's more like the the thoughts in my head. Even though I know a lot of time it's not true, but I think uh, this will take time. I used to be a lot more negative, and but slowly, when I learned to embrace both positivity and negativity, I realized that I don't have to choose one side. I feel like I used to think only being negative is being realistic. So the thought of being positive never occurred in my mind, or at least I never admit to be positive. Even though a lot of time I do. For example, if I cheer people on, or I encourage people, or stuff like that. It's just that I do it more often for others, but not for myself. And also, I don't really feel like letting people know I'm positive, stuff like that. But there's nothing wrong, There's nothing wrong being positive, nor is it being negative. It's just how you view the world. And slowly I feel like I don't have to just be on one side. I can choose. I can have both. I can embrace both. Thoughts are just thoughts. They are not fact, and they're not necessarily reality. And what is reality is that my action that is matter the most. So which is something I'm through the time learning to be more realistic, just to see things as they are, and then therefore you accept them, which is something quite hard for me because of this all this notion, or all this assumption of what might happen. So then it's just very irrational anxiety for me. But I know that things will take time, not just like one day and all of a sudden I'm feeling all right. When it comes to craving, you can crave for a lot of things. For example, like I mentioned earlier as well, you can crave for material goods, fancy car or big houses. You can crave for a lot of things. You can crave for love. You can crave for attention. You can also crave for praise. There's just a little bit of everything where I crave for. Like I crave for love, for example, because I never have a relationship before, and it's just the fantasy and the desire of imagining of how cool it would be if I get this. That creates a lot of desire just to achieve, because now you allow things to control your emotions. So then if it doesn't happen, then you will just feel very distressed, you will feel upset. I also crave a lot of things, for example, like productivity. I always feel like I'm wasting my time. So even on weekend, and I just feel like I need to do something. I just constantly feel the need to be working on something, or at least playing games. Even though yes, playing game doesn't is not productive, but it still feel like I'm doing something than doing nothing at all. But the truth is, it is okay to do nothing, and maybe we need more time to do nothing than just sit down or lay down, to just rewind, to just be quiet, to just calm down our body, you know, and our soul. So I think that's one thing also that I want to learn, to know that it's okay. I don't need to compete with anyone in life just because someone is very successful in younger age. or in the same age they achieve more than I do. I don't have to compare with them, nor do I have to compete. The roots of craving, what is the cause? The cause of craving, and to me, it's because of my insecurity. Is that because I I feel insecure about myself, therefore, by having this notion of chasing or desiring something, I feel like then only I will be safe if I get this thing or if I achieve this thing. So that's one thing also that is mainly for my craving. Another thing is because of this lack of self satisfaction, lack of self love, and lack of self validation. When it comes to lack of self love, it's just I rely on people and I rely on things to feel good about myself. And same as the self validation, where I feel the need to have other people's opinion, you know, like people compliment and people praising, applauding for me, telling me I'm doing a good job and all that things, just to feel good about myself. So that's also one of the reasons. And another thing is the self satisfaction, which having a high expectation for myself because I always want to improve and always expect myself to do better. And when I don't, I just feel awful. But the truth is, we all have that periods. We all have the season where we slow down, where we rest. We all have the period where we do, you know, where we go high up. So that's just one natural things that happen, and I think that is something I need to understand. Uh, even the robot needs to take a break, otherwise it would just uh, get heat up and malfunction and all that. Same as my my body, my mind and my soul. I need to take breaks. I need to slow down. I need to follow my own rhythm, my own flow, basically. So I study a bit of Buddhism. Sorry, Buddhism to me is not only as a religion, but it's more of a philosophy to me. How as a Buddhist they view the world, like monk for example. Desire and ignorance lie at the root of suffering. By desiring, Buddhists refer to the craving pleasure, material goods, and immortality, all of which are wants that can never be satisfied. As a result, desiring them can only bring suffering. So then, like I said earlier, it's just this constant craving. It's just this constant chasing that will never be enough. Uh, at least for me, I'm talking about myself, not talking for everyone. So in this case, that's why I suffer a lot, and as a result, it's just lead to a lot of anxiety and depression and self blame and all that, which is I slowly notice that and come to realize that I'm craving a lot as I go up and taking my time to work toward it. And looking back, I really see a lot of improvement. It's just that healing or learning is not consistent. It's not constantly go up. Sometimes it's just just up and down, and that's just how it is. The next thing is what can we do about the craving? How can we stop ourselves from craving? You can't just like, oh, no. You can't just force yourself to avoid or force yourself to stop. It takes time. And what one way is to understand, like I mentioned about the roots of craving. You need to understand why exactly do you crave, and what is not enough that lets you crave for something. you know for example, if I said I crave for romance love because I want to feel love, right? What's one of the reason why I keep craving? Is it because my self love is not enough? Is that because the love that the love and the care is not given to myself by myself, and so I look for it from someone else, and that's why I crave. And also, it is normal to want to try and want to fall in love and all that. It's just that when it comes to craving, it's another uh, topic, I guess you can say. Kind of like how addiction and how habits. Yeah, that's one thing. You When it comes to addiction, you just feel like you can't live without something or someone, and so you are constantly abusing it, and to a point even when you know it creates a lot of consequences. It has a lot of side effect. It's gonna destroy your life, and then you still continue doing it. But when it comes to whether it's addiction or craving or just about anything, I think so it's very important for all of us to understand, because sometimes I feel like by just saying you want to change, sometimes it feels like, what are you changing for? What's the purpose do you want to change? And I think that's something that is very hard to ask yourself. Damn it, mom. I keep I said I want to talk about myself, but I still, yeah, sorry about it. So, but I think that's one thing that we can all learn, is that to understand ourselves more. Uh, Rather than for example, if I feel sad, rather than pushing it away, I embrace my sadness and understand why do I feel sad, and thus I can be there for myself. I don't need to look down on myself or make fun of myself, or even you know do it this way just to please someone else. Okay, I validate my emotion and I embrace it, and that's all that matters, because everyone has different perspective, everyone have different experience, so not everyone will understand why we feel how we feel, or in the opposite way as well. We don't necessarily understand why someone else act or feel such way. But I think it's important to simply respect, and not to not to just jump in and start judging someone for how they feel. But of course, when you act upon it, like lashing out on someone because of your anger, like start fighting someone, then that's wrong. So yeah, uh, ultimately, I think I don't have the final answer. Life is just full of possibility. Even though yes, it is also full of suffering, but there's also a lot of opportunity, and that everyone have their own different ways, and to make things works for them. So, but I think yeah, I think it's very important to first understand and embrace, forgive yourself for why you feeling how you feel. Uh, like for example, me, I, I often be very harsh to myself, and I always just want the opinion of others. I care about how people think of me, and what I get at the end, just constant worry, just constant anxiety, and it's not really worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it at all. There's 70 billion people in this world, and how much I can control. I can't even control anyone's how they think and feel about me, and I can't how to say yeah, I can't control that. So it's tiring to just constantly be worrying, to wants people validation and agreement. At the end, we all likes and dislike something else. I can't control someone else's action and their feelings and their thoughts, but I can control my action, how I want to treat people, Do I want to lead with love and kindness, or do I want to lead with hatred and resentment? And that's just on me. And so at the end, no forcing. Take your time to understand. Take your time to, you can write down anything. And yeah, hopefully we all find out ways, we all find out, understand why we, facing this or that issue. And hopefully this video is helpful as well. And even if it's not, thank you for watching. And yeah, I will see you next time.